You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Make sure you guys like this video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Donald Trump came out the other day on Truth Social and called for the Department of Commerce to conduct a new census, a mid-decade census for the United States. Now, for those who don't know what a census is, every 10 years the government basically gets a head count of Americans. They're able to ask a lot of questions, basically understand who lives where, by ethnicity, age, etc. You name it and get an accurate head count. Now, during COVID, this was a little bit harder to do. I remember filling out the census. It was like an online thing. They didn't actually go door to door. Usually they'll do both because they have to make sure. They have to take precaution. They didn't really take precaution. And what this did was it allowed for a census to be conducted that was not ideal, which made sure that certain states got different population totals than what they really probably had. Certain electoral votes that would have gone to red states went to blue states. And Donald Trump is going out there saying, yes, we need an accurate census. Now let's be clear here. The census will not be fully binding. So if we get a mid-decade census, which we possibly could do, you're not going to have, per the Constitution, an updated electoral map for 2028. The 2028 map is going to be the same as the 2024 map, which I'm fine with because it's still very beneficial to Republicans, especially the way that the nation is moving. But we would like to really understand what is out there. How many congressional districts can Republicans justify drawing before the midterms if we get an accurate head count? And understand it's a little bit of a different ballgame. We'll also show the 2030s map and talk about the legal aliens and how they possibly are being counted in censuses. Well, they actually are. And is that really constitutional when you have an originalist interpretation of the Constitution? So Donald Trump's calling for a new census based on what he calls modern-day facts and figures, and using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. Because you can kind of tell certain areas, certain House districts had a little bit of more people voting in them than others. And obviously, turnout's going to vary in different parts of the country. We understand that. But sometimes the disparity is just a little bit too much to kind of call 100% accurate when you look at the census. So, regardless of census in 2020, not the best census, and that we know, Trump also wants a citizenship question where a lot of people will say the Constitution does not explicitly say that, even though it does outline the census being every 10 years. So how would that work in the census? Well, either way, I think it's important because what it would do would make sure that the people that are able to vote, which are Americans, people that are citizens, those people would be counted, and people who are not would not be. That was not what the Founding Fathers wanted when they wrote the Constitution. So if we're to interpret the Constitution as written, we are to interpret it as the fact that they didn't really care about illegal aliens having representation. They were not able to vote back then. They're not able to vote now. This was specifically written for us to kind of gauge how many people live in a certain place. Voters, how would they exactly be represented? You name it. That's really what it would come down to. So Donald Trump is going out there and mentioning that it's true because California, the illegals there are probably willing to answer a census because they're basically protected by the state to stay there. Many of them are on government benefits within the state of California. A lot of Democrats will pretend that's not true. We had that whole argument about, are illegals really on Medicaid? Yes, they are. Obviously, it's a state-level Medicaid funding. The big, beautiful bill wanted to, and to a certain extent did, kind of have these carve-outs to make sure that they would be able to prevent coverage from happening in those states, you name it. But still, it's like you look at the apportionment forecast already, and this doesn't even take into account, because it is true, California, maybe New York, a couple other states have an extra congressional district or two because they have an illegal alien population that gets counted. That's not the main problem. The other problem is the census is just a big, massive disaster that we currently have from 2020. When you look at the 2030 forecast based on the current population estimates, red states are about to gain 1, 2, 3, 4. In addition to those 3, that'd be 7. And then another 4 in Florida, that would be 11 electoral votes that they would gain. Meanwhile, Democrats would lose those 11, and technically you have a swing state in Wisconsin that's on track to lose 1. A swing state in Pennsylvania that's on track to lose 1. But still, Republicans wouldn't need to win either of those states. They would just need to win the Sun Belt swing states, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. If they get those, they're at 270 and then some. But still, obviously, Georgia's kind of moving a little bit to the left. Maybe Pennsylvania, it's moving to the right. You get Pennsylvania, it still has more electoral votes than the state of Georgia. So you're seeing what's going on here with the census, with the miscount. And Democrat states are losing electoral votes to red states. And some of that is because of just general trends, but some of it was because of a bad census. So when you look at Texas and Florida getting more electoral votes, that should tell you something. And does it also justify a redraw? That's another question, because we understand Texas is trying to redraw their congressional map, making it more favorable to Republicans to counteract states like Illinois, New York, Maryland, Connecticut, California, Oregon, New Mexico. You can go on and on and on. The blue states with ridiculously gerrymandered maps, they're trying to do it. Florida might do the same thing. Ohio's going to try to redraw the map as well in the state, because they couldn't get the map that they wanted back in the day, back in 2022 or before, I think it was. And it makes sense to redraw. 100% it does. And a redraw is justified for numerous reasons. The fact that Democrats gerrymander more at this point, yes, that is one of the reasons. Another reason just being that we believe in our ideas and we want to advance them by any means necessary, and it's constitutional. Whether people think it's fair or not is really besides the point. If this is one of the issues where Democrats want to fall on the principle like they've done in so many state constitutions, be my guest. Either way, we understand that California's map, even though they have an independent commission, gives Democrats roughly, 80-some% of the seats in a state where they only won 58% of the vote. But the census miscount, I think, is the number one argument for why Republicans should be able to redraw, because there were so many errors in the last census. And when you have those errors in the census, that means that people are not accurately being represented, and that Republicans need to go out there and make sure that they're going to be able to have such representation at the end of the day. So redrawing is indeed more than justified. Is there going to be a new census? We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be expensive, may not be feasible, might as well wait until 2030. But in the meantime, if we're not able to get a new census, I think that this needs to be talked about more. As Democrats are losing their mind at the idea of Texas redrawing the map or Florida redrawing the map. And it's like a lot of these gains are already baked into the cake. You had a really, really bad census, and it really disproportionately benefited the Democrats. I wonder why that happened to be the case. But still, either way, make sure you can redraw, make up for it, and then in 2030 or 2032, before the new House map comes out, and at that point, Democrats may not win the House for another 10 years, depending on what happens. You can go from there. But until then, yes, you had a census that was poorly conducted. Trump wants to do another one. Not sure he's going to be able to. It's not going to be binding until the 2030s, even if he is able to do one. But still, all this talk about the redraws, when you look at the census and you understand how badly it was conducted, becomes more than necessary to at least mitigate it with a redraw. So Texas and Florida are doing the right things. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like the video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button so you never miss another episode. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.